Okay, let's just jump right in with a pretty wild idea. Imagine your life, every single moment, the good, the bad, all of it, repeating, forever, on an endless loop. Would that be an incredible opportunity to achieve greatness, or would it be the most terrifying prison imaginable? Well, that's exactly the question at the heart of the philosophical clash we're unpacking today.
So, on one side of this debate, you've got a character known as the Shadow. And for them, this idea of eternal recurrence isn't some dreadful curse. Oh no, it's a challenge. It's a call to arms. They're basically saying, hey, if this is all going to happen again and again, doesn't that force us to make every single second count, to make it truly great? It's this incredibly heroic and defiant stance on existence.
And that really brings the question right to your doorstep, doesn't it? If you knew your life would repeat for all eternity, would you see it as a chance to live with this profound, ultimate purpose? I mean, knowing every single thing you do will echo forever? Or would you feel trapped, like you're in a cage you can never, ever escape? That's the dilemma we're wrestling with here.
All right, so now let's flip the coin. Because for every big idea, there's a counter-argument, right? Enter the soothsayer. This character hears the Shadow's grand, beautiful vision and sees it as a complete delusion. A dangerous one, because for the soothsayer, when you actually understand what eternal recurrence means, well, it reveals a truth that is absolutely horrifying.
And I mean, look at this contrast. It's just night and day. On one hand, you have the Shadow, who says life is a beautiful dance, an opportunity for greatness. On the other, the soothsayer, who calls it a hamster wheel, just pure futility. The Shadow wants to stamp moments with eternity, while the soothsayer says, guess what? That horizon you're running towards, it's not a finish line. It's just the wall of your cage.
So this is where the soothsayer drops their bombshell of an idea. They call it the sum of zero. Think about it like this. Imagine you could do the math on the entire universe. You calculate every single event, every joy, every sorrow, every bit of knowledge gained and lost in this infinite loop. And after all that, the final answer is just zero. Nothing. It all cancels out. Every triumph, every heartbreak, every discovery, it ultimately adds up to absolutely nothing.
Now, to drive this chilling point home, the soothsayer doesn't just stick to abstract philosophy. No, they tell a story, a cautionary tale, really. It's about a being who actually did it, a being who achieved total, complete knowledge. And this being has a name, the Mad God of Void. And this being, this mad god, is known as the Obsidian Owl. And here's the terrifying part. The owl represents the horror of getting what you wish for. It wasn't just smart, it was omniscient. It set out on this grand quest to literally solve the universe, to calculate everything. But what it found at the end of that road, it wasn't wisdom. It wasn't enlightenment. It was something much, much darker.
Just try to wrap your head around the scale we're talking about here. This owl calculated the path of every single atom. It foresaw the end of everything. This event called the Great Evening, 1 billion years before it even happened. It literally held the entire infinite cycle of existence in its mind. And all of that perfect, godlike knowledge led it to a single, soul-crushing conclusion.
And what did the all-knowing God say at the end of its journey? Why must I continue to calculate the sum of zero? That's it. That's the cry of the mad God. Its ultimate reward for knowing everything was the realization that it was all just a pointless equation. Omniscience didn't bring peace. It brought a terrible, endless duty to keep checking the math on an answer that would always, always be zero.
But wait, the soothsayer isn't done. The story doesn't end in despair. There's another parable, another path. So if the owl's way, the path of total knowledge, just leads to a cosmic dead end, then what's the alternative, right? What's the other option? Well, that brings us to the story of the Overman of Brass and its radical solution. So what is this wisdom of brass? It's a philosophy called self-undergoing, and it's a total rejection of the Shadow's idea. The goal here isn't to make the dance better or to find meaning in the hamster wheel. The goal is to get off the wheel entirely. It's the ultimate act of defiance, to just stop, to say I'm done, no more. And the way this Overman of Brass did it is fascinating. It's described as this deliberate, mechanical act. Unlike the owl, which kept calculating, the Overman found true wisdom in simply ceasing. It literally locked its own gears. It chose to become a stone, completely inert. And by doing that, by taking itself out of the equation, it managed to do what the owl couldn't.
It made the cycle stop.
So what does that look like, the end result of self-undergoing? It's this beautiful, strange paradox. The void becomes full. How? Because there's no more struggle, no more reaching, no more becoming anything. It's like the cosmic accounting book is finally balanced and closed for good. The Overman of Brass didn't win the game, it just refused to play. And in doing so, it ended the game for itself. There's nothing left to witness.
Okay, so after laying out these two massive parables, the despair of the owl and the strange peace of the overman, the soothsayer effectively wins the argument. The shadow, with its heroic, optimistic view, has been completely taken apart. It just dissolves into the gloom, leaving total silence. But the soothsayer has one last thing to say, a final, incredibly cryptic insight.
And this is the final mic drop. The soothsayer reveals that the great evening, that end of everything the owl saw, it wasn't some big answer to the meaning of life. It wasn't a conclusion. It was just what happened when the universe finally got tired of asking why. The only way to truly end the cycle, it seems, was for the question itself to finally go to sleep.
So, where does that leave us? It really comes down to this, doesn't it? What's the greater wisdom here? Is it to be like the shadow and try to make the dance on this cosmic wheel as beautiful and perfect as possible? Or do we listen to the soothsayer and believe the only truly wise move is to find a way to make the whole thing just stop? That's the question I'll leave you with.